Hey family, and welcome back to my channel, your go-to destination for exploring faith, inspiration, health, and personal growth. Today we have a guest who has a passion for early childhood education. From a young adult and a young person, he has been creating stories and characters that have stayed with him his entire adult life. Our guest believes in the power of communication and overcoming obstacles to solve problems. Through his experiences working with children, he has found inspiration and in writing stories to teach important life lessons. Join us as we explore his journey and his colorful expressions. Keep watching to get inspired by his message of learning from challenges and finding love in adversity and ultimately embracing peace. Hi, and welcome back to Woman's Heart, a wellness podcast where we explore faith, inspiration, health, and personal growth. I'm so excited that you're joining me for another empowering message because today we have on the show with us Mr. Willaim, and I want to say it right, Ykee, but will you go by Ykee, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, last name Threat.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm just
That's my
making
alias.
sure. Okay, yeah. So Mr. Willaim Ykee Threat is the president of A Thought Above LLC. Willaim is the president of this LLC, and he is one of the amazing illustrators. He's the ultimate illustrator. He's also an early education teacher with tremendous love for children. Ykee began writing stories as early as 8 years old, coming up with characters and plots that followed him into adulthood, which is pretty phenomenal. Ykee's overactive imagination and creativity and love in nature kept his childlike heart alive, which is important in this day and time. And we also know that he expresses himself through his hair, his smile, his color, and his shoes. And Ykee finds that communication can solve many problems in his life as he went through. He has these stories that he's built. And through his journey of working with children, he has met many children who share the same troubles he had experienced in his young life. So his writing isn't just for him, but he writes to teach those children to navigate the obstacles that stood in his way so they can grow. He lives by 3 principles, and I love these principles: assess, understand, and then apply. Failure to him is only when he doesn't learn from his mistakes. And Ykee also lives through any adversity and challenges. He's learned to love from those challenges, and then they became memories that he leverages. And he laughs because he saw peace in adversity. So think of me as your chief encouragement officer, setting the stage to delve into the journey of Ykee's life as an educator and an illustrator, as he's impacting the world and creatively sharing his many talents. Welcome to the show today, Ykee.
Thank you. That was wonderful. I love the intro. Love the
Awesome.
way you read that bio about me.
Thank you. It's all true. It's all true. So Ykee is what I'm just going to refer to you as because that's such a cool name, right? I like Willaim, but Ykee really
Everyone
rings
loves it.
true. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to you sharing your journey and your expertise with us. So let's just jump right on in. I would love for you to tell us who you are from your heart and what makes you get up in the morning.
One of the things that makes me get up in the morning is I'll say my overactive imagination. Sometimes I have very interesting dreams that actually led to the books that I
Wow.
have. So my third concept of my children's book that's actually written down in my phone actually came from a dream that I had. So
Wow.
lately I've been having these. I want to say the dreams are weird, but they're funny. Like I had a dream the other night that I was like with this team. They were a very colorful team. There was a banana on the team.
Mm-hmm.
There was really a banana, and then we had to like run through these obstacles. And then we got on a helicopter, and they played this song. They would just bob their head like this, and we just speed off. It was a weird dream. Like stuff like that have led to
Right.
certain characters in my
Right.
cartoons and stuff. So what I kind of learned and found out, like challenges that I've experienced throughout my life, kind of have meaning. So I would research the dreams, and then sometimes the dreams would just appear as characters,
Mm-hmm.
and I would just go off from there. So I would say wanting to see these things come to life. That's definitely one of the reasons why I wake up wanting to see the stuff come to life. And
Mm-hmm.
I also just love building, bonds with people and relationships. So it's people I still want to see, friends that I met online and Instagram and places like that that I still haven't met that I keep in contact with every day, especially the friends that I play the game with all the time. So stuff like
Awesome.
that, like really, that makes me want to get up every day.
I love that. That is so good. So why don't you tell us a little bit too about, can you share about a specific moment or experience from your childhood that sparked your love for storytelling and illustration?
I think it was my favorite cartoons. So I'll say putting myself in the place of the cartoon character. Like one of my favorites was like Ed and Eddie. Ed
Hmm.
and Eddie was, I think it's because Ed and Eddie was so random. I don't even think Ed and Eddie had a plot. It
Right.
was random. I loved the characters. It was so funny, even like the little violence that they had. But sometimes I would pretend that I had a character in the show that was interacting with the other characters. Kids Next Door, the adventures that they went on, it was just something creative. It was something beyond, what the mind could comprehend, or what we were told that we could comprehend or even do. The
Yeah.
cartoons push past those boundaries. So I really thought it was possible, especially imagining myself in that world. So I
Wow.
decided that I wanted to create my own.
Very
So that's
cool.
what kind of sparked the creativity.
Very cool. No, those cartoons. Now you mentioned Kids Next Door. Is that when number 5 is in Kids Next Door?
Yeah, I loved it. Yeah, that was my
Number
cartoon. I
5
had the
was
video
my
game and
favorite
everything.
character. My daughter used to look at it.
Yeah, she was very
That is
beloved.
so good. I love that. So those cartoons back then, you're right. It was kind of random. It's like you just kind of are drawn in, which I love that. So how do you incorporate your background in early education into your writing and illustration for children?
So the way I incorporate my background
Hmm.
is I'll just treat the kids the way I wanted to be treated as a kid.
Right.
And giving them the opportunity to talk and express themselves. Like there are times like we're in early child education, or just in teaching in general, whether it's working at summer camps or whatever, the
Hmm.
child may have an attitude and the teacher may not like the child's attitude.
Right.
Sometimes, I'm just like, okay, they're gonna have an attitude. They're a kid, they don't like maybe they just don't like our rules and regulations or something like that.
Right.
Or they didn't like the way we responded because they want to do this.
Hmm.
And sometimes it's just okay, just let them do what they do. Like my favorite cartoons, they just like things random, be sporadic sometimes. We ain't gotta always give them structure.
Right.
Let them have their way, let them run around sometimes. We're not here to control them, we're here to have fun and just make sure they're safe. So I just kind of think about the things that I liked as a kid, the way I wanted to be treated. And one of the things that I incorporate into early child education is sometimes I pay attention to like the lessons and stuff that the kids are doing, and then I just find a way to make it more creative. Like one time we had a lesson on kites. They wanted to do kites one time,
Hmm.
so I went on Amazon and got some kites that they can actually decorate.
Hmm.
And instead of just doing like a basic lesson, I created a whole presentation now, which I have one of them out, and I haven't gotten a chance to work on a second one. But I
Hmm.
have one of them out on my website called Our Dogs Gods. Like, God and then dog is like you just reverse the letter.
Right.
So, and then everyone loves dogs. They're very beloved. Even
Hmm.
some of the meanest dogs are still very beloved. Like you see a dog out on the loose, and then in the neighborhood after, like, oh, I hope this bundle of joy gets home. Whole time the dog jumped over the gate because it's looking to bite somebody.
Right.
It's looking for a victim. But everybody loves their dog. So I just came up with that silly topic.
Right.
And I created a character. It's a pineapple. I call him Pointy Sweet Fruit, and
Hmm.
I made a presentation on another one with the kites for the kids and stuff, and they loved it. They eat it up every day.
That's
Are we
it's
going to
so
see
good.
Pointy? When are we going to see Pointy again? It was Pointy. Does he want to talk to us today? I'm like, not right now. I'm like, he doesn't want to talk right now, and that's only because I didn't finish doing the presentation
Right,
because it took a
right.
lot of work. Yeah, and they expected it. Like it took a lot of work to do that.
That is so cool.
And yeah, so I just try to put those fun and creative means into it. And I think one of the best things I did, I actually printed out my book and laminated it and stuff and gave it to a lady I used to work with, and
Mhm.
she would always send me pictures. Now sometimes she still does when the kids are reading my book and stuff, and
Right.
they go to sleep with it and hold the book, and then it comes to this and
That
Mr.
is
Will, I
so
slept with
cool.
your book today. Yeah, it was real fun.
That is awesome. So you meet them where they are.
Yes,
Meet
very
them where they
much.
are. And that's so important with early childhood education and kids in general. You know, they don't want to feel like rules and regulations are put on them. And I think that's part of it. That's why they buck the system. You got to treat them like you would want to be treated. And that sounds like you've done that. That's awesome. So with this communication style, you talked about, and you mentioned communication can solve problems. So how do you use your storytelling as a form of communication to help children navigate obstacles. You gave us that one story about how you meet them where they are. What's another
Mainly,
story that you leverage?
mainly is pictures. Not all children can read. Some of our children are lacking academically.
Right, right.
And so it's mainly the pictures. Like in my story, the perspective story, and You First.
Mm-hmm.
You can get an idea of what the book is about without reading the words because of the pictures. They definitely speak very loudly.
Mm-hmm.
So in You First, you'll see that everything is colorful, and then the girl Heaven has her color, and then she goes into a world of gray where someone else's world is gray, and then she brings color to that world. But then when she brings colors to that world, then her color is gone. But then you see in the next part that she gets her color back, and then the other person, their world, well, not their world, just the person is gray.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because Heaven does things from her heart. She doesn't expect anything back. So, life rewards her in the end. But it also teaches a why, as you read the story too, it teaches why it's important to also do for yourself. It's okay to do for others, but you got to do for yourself too.
Yeah. You're really teaching
And
some great practical skills to children,
yeah,
and about heart, how to give back and be kind.
definitely, because people don't understand that it's
Mm-hmm.
okay to love.
Yeah.
Like even in the perspective story, that was a real deep one because I always had this issue. I was listening to some music a while ago. I remember I was just walking and I had the music on playing. I think I was listening to Pandora at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was just thinking, I was just really like thinking. And then this is how I got on like kind of two artists, like Logic, the artist called Logic.
Mm-hmm.
He has this song called Never Been, one of my favorite songs. I
Right.
was walking one time and I was like, you know what? I was just kind of thinking about how I didn't have the best time in high school. I was like, I wish I had the same mindset I had now. Back then I was like, I'd really be an even better person. And then the
Right.
song called Never Been just came on.
Mm-hmm.
And like it literally just came on. I never heard that song before. And then another time I was walking and I was thinking, I was like, I was like, the sun is out. I was like, this is it's a nice area. I was like, I think sometimes I give it a negative outlook, based on how I'm feeling. But I was
Right.
like, I gotta train my mind to kind of think better. And then this song called Train Your Mind came on right after I said that. And
Like you
then
manifested.
those, yeah,
Right.
like I just manifested it and those principles kind of stuck. And when I thought about that, that's how I was able to write perspective story because the person he's like the character in the book is like that big and
Mm-hmm.
everything just looks intimidating to him when
Mm-hmm.
there was just another side of it. But the way he looked at it, that's why you'll see like the kind of scary image and then you'll see like the beautiful image
I
when
love
you read the story, like from the robotic squirrel with the scary red eyes that has eye lasers to it
Mm-hmm.
just being a golden squirrel just giving him food,
Right.
instead of digging in someone else's lunchbox, just stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that. So
Yeah.
it's just a positive way of viewing the environment
That
versus,
is so.
making everything so hostile.
That's really good. I mean, you're very creative. Like thinking everything is like as a creative, you're just generating all of these ideas and then executing them, creating stories and books that can really help kids. I mean, just all the stories that are out there on your website, which you'll share with the audience later, but just really good stuff. I mean, it's and it helps parents, I'm sure, so they can leverage your books to help their children to even think about becoming kinder. There's a book out there that can help them do that, and they can see themselves in it.
Yeah, that's what I teach to the parents. I tell them, I'm like, there are things in this book that I didn't get until, recently, to a few years ago,
Right.
that just came to me one day, in this
Mm-hmm.
book because honestly, I had like a lot of anger and things I would not forget, and that was my biggest thing was I could hold a grudge. You
Right.
could have took one of my chicken nuggets off my plate in pre-K, and I would still remember that to this day. Like I'm watching my food around him,
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, after the pandemic hit one day, I think I had really, really bad depression one day, like during
Mm-hmm.
before the pandemic.
Yeah.
And then when the pandemic hit, everyone else was depressed and people had like the worst relationships. Their relationships started changing. The pandemic
Yeah.
was amazing for me.
Yeah.
It was amazing. It really sparked all of these ideas and the stories that I had now were totally different. But
Mhm.
the pandemic made me like when it opened me up, it gave me more clarity. And that's how I got what they are now.
I love that. That's so good. So with the books that you have, what age range are we looking at? We're saying early childhood. Is it kindergarten, pre-K, kindergarten, first grade, second grade, or what grade
I
focus?
would I would, I would say honestly, it would be like the pre-kindergarten age. I'd say 5 years old, 5 years and older. The
Okay.
reason being because they have more experience with their
Mhm.
eyes, so they can have a better representation of what the picture are. And
Okay, gotcha.
that, that
Wow. Okay,
so
that's good to know.
I
So
think I
a
think
parent
five,
listening could be
yeah.
able to get this book off your website if they want it, right?
Well, currently I have the digital versions, and so I'm
Okay.
actually building the connection so I can get
Okay.
bulk of the physical versions because I don't want my books to be 15 and 17 and $20. I want my books to stay at the $10 and $11 range. I want them to
Gotcha.
be
Yeah.
affordable. I want people to be able to have them.
Right, right.
So
And
yeah,
everybody to be able to, it's affordable. Yeah,
yeah.
that is good. So can you share a personal challenge or adversity that you faced and how you were able to find peace and laughter in that situation? Like, I guess one of your stories from when you were younger and how you had to overcome it, and you learned to laugh through it.
I have to say, when I was younger, I don't think I kind of understood that principle or didn't understand that principle was instilled in me.
Yeah.
So one of the relations that I like to make right. Sean Kingston made that song years ago called "Beautiful Girls."
Mm-hmm.
And instead of going the route of suicide,
Mm-hmm.
he transitioned that feeling into something more creative, and he made that song that's still has millions of it has millions and millions of views on YouTube. So I feel like I actually learned that principle kind of
Mm-hmm.
recently that you would take, disaster and turn it into something triumphant. Like that's just how everything in the universe works and the world works and your body works. You go to the
Mm-hmm.
gym and you tear those muscles and they heal and they become stronger.
Yeah,
So yep.
that's
So
awesome.
even a tree, like you plant the acorn, it's in
Mm-hmm.
a dark place and then it grows upwards towards the light, which it has to go through darkness. So like no matter
Mm-hmm.
what you do, you gotta go through darkness.
It's part of the growth, part of the process.
That's what
I love that. So how do you hope your stories and illustrations will impact children who may be facing similar troubles that you experienced growing up?
the main thing is that it's it's relating to it.
Mm,
It's them relating to it. It's them being able to laugh. I wrote a cartoon called Bloom. It's actually finished, but
hmm.
I've actually just been still scripting it because I'm changing things in the screenplay because I feel like we can always improve.
Right, right. Always.
And that screenplay that I wants to be a 3D animated film
Mm-hmm.
actually bred the two books that I have currently. It actually bred those two books and it bred the idea
Mm-hmm.
of the third one too, aside from just the dreams.
Right.
Because that came from a dream too. Years ago I had my very first girlfriend, her name was Ariana.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so I had this dream that she would in a dream I had her, we would meet in front of this tree and then she would wave at me and we would go sit down and talk. So one day I go to meet her in front of the tree and her aunt comes over to her and says something in front of her. She looks at me, she puts her head down and walks away. And then, after that we basically broke up. And that was the end of that. So that dream kind of like sparked like in a perspective story, and even you first, like you'll see the tree and stuff like that, or the bench in front of the tree and the other one, a big tree.
Mm-hmm.
So that tree actually has like a lot of significance that I use in the dream. So it's almost
Wow.
like a communication beacon, like it really links everything, the universes of which I based this book in and the cartoon and stuff like that. And even
Mm-hmm.
my graphic novel project, that tree is like kind of like that beacon. So it's a really deep story about kind of unspoken feelings, not just about her, but
Mm-hmm.
many different things from my mom, the relationship with my mom, seeing that abuse, and then my dad seeing that level of abuse that was going on. How he could be sometimes with
Mm-hmm.
women and stuff, and then I was abused. So it spoke to a lot of those unanswered questions, the things that I really felt, and other relationships that I had too growing up with
Mm-hmm.
experience different women and dating and stuff like that. So
Mm-hmm.
it kind of put all of those together, the things that I was feeling in school, the lacking of confidence and stuff like that. So I put all of that in there, and ultimately the main goal was it was love, self-love, it
Mm-hmm.
was forgiveness,
That's
and it was
good.
believing in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
that's what Bloom is about. That's what that whole movie is about. And I see it as having four parts. I got these colorful characters. I got the kind characters, the
Mm-hmm.
rather mean characters, the wicked ones,
Mm-hmm.
the wicked character that finds a heart in one of the characters who was once deemed to be, kind of antagonistic.
Mhm.
who's now a protagonist. So this other antagonistic character saw these loving qualities and felt bad for years of work that he used to do. He used to make a lot of money for doing X, Y, and Z, but he
Mhm.
saw the heart of this one target that he had, and he
Mhm.
felt completely bad. And and
Wow.
it changed him.
Yeah.
So it's about love and it's about forgiveness. It's about growth. That's what my stories are about, and I want to push those out there so people can see that. I want people to laugh. I want people to fall in love with the crazy character I created there named Harmony. I
Right.
want people to fall in love with these specific characters and be able to relate to them and take the messages and the things they say in a certain way.
That
So,
is so good. I love that, ultimately it's about self-love, right? And so
mm,
that said too, you said you're mentioning the movies, the short stories and the writing, all of that. Can you share with the audience your information, your website and email, whatever you want to share, so that if someone would like to further the conversation with you and reach out to you, we can do so. As we wrap this up, I'd love to give that information.
okay, so you can find my website at https.
Mhm.
Well, you're just gonna thinkbeyondbloom.info because I forgot the little names and symbols and stuff like that.
Okay.
So thinkbeyondbloom.info. So that's thinkbeyondbloom.info. And then you can reach me at thinkbeyondinnovations@gmail.com. Or when you go to the website, of course, you just click contact and it'll bring you down to one of the characters' faces in a cell phone. And then you can click the multiple links and then you can get my contact information that way. Social media, all of those things.
Thank you for that. And what I'll do too is I'll put it in the show notes. So anybody that's out there listening, they can click and get your information right in there as well. So Ykee, it has been a pleasure having you on the show today. I thank you so much for sharing your gifts and your talents and in your heart with us. And I just want to say that, you are on the right track, doing the right thing. And it sounds like God has called you in a purpose-driven life to be able to share with others and help them find self-love too. So thank you for that.
Definitely. I appreciate this talk, Miss Edna, and for everyone listening too. Definitely check
Absolutely.
me out. And I really appreciate it. I hope you guys enjoy everything you see.
I'm sure they will. I'm excited about it. So again, as we're wrapping up, if you've enjoyed your time with us together, remember to share this podcast, like, comment, and subscribe. You can reach out to me on voemetoday@gmail.com. You can learn more about Voices of Encouragement and our resources and our services and all that we offer under voicesofencouragement.com. And remember, be bold, be true, be kind, be you. And until we meet again, Ephesians 4:1, walk worthy of the call for which you were called.